Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into this video. This video covers part 2 of a 2-part series on LinkedIn. This part 2 focuses on LinkedIn 2, maximizing networking and your online personal brand. Alrighty, so again, before we dive in, just a reminder of where we are located. My name is Narali Taglialavore. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Associate Director of Career Education at the Center for Career Development at Boston University. The Center for Career Development is located at Yawkey Center for Student Services, which is 100 Bay State Road up on the 6th floor. Our website is bu.edu/careers. And an offering that we have for resume and cover letters is our drop-in hours, which are located in room 101 in person. And those hours each semester may vary, so make sure you check out our website for those times and resource. Today we'll cover LinkedIn again, which is the part 2 series. If you still have questions about how to utilize LinkedIn, how to leverage it for networking and making connections, as well as you're part of your online brand, feel free to schedule an appointment with us to review your profile or to talk more about strategies for maximizing LinkedIn. So today we will focus on a few different topics we will cover. We will talk about, now that you have a completed profile, how to utilize your LinkedIn and how that is part of your online brand. We'll talk about using and leveraging LinkedIn to network, as well as how to utilize LinkedIn to set up informational interviews. So let's jump on in. You may have heard the phrase online personal brand before, and that may have been in various different aspects. Online personal brand, just the word personal brand, whether that's in person or online. For today's context, we'll focus on online personal brand and even more specifically, what that looks like on LinkedIn. So essentially, your LinkedIn profile is a representation of you, which means that it's part of this toolkit as part of your online personal brand. So your LinkedIn profile is just one example that fits into your online personal brand. And when thinking about what your online personal brand is and what it looks like, you may find yourself asking certain questions. For example, do you know what your career identity is? Essentially, when thinking about your career identity, you want to think about the essence of you as a person, which may include your work strengths, accomplishments, your image, your passions, your personality traits, along with others' perceptions of you, specifically applied within a work environment or career setting. That's what will be the focus of today. And as we're going through this, as you look at your profile that you have created after watching part 1, you want to think about how this fits into your online personal brand and what you want to be known for. You might be asking yourself, is what's displayed on this profile what I want to be known for, what I'm hoping to achieve in terms of my career goals and pursuits? What do I want people to know about my strengths? Are they articulated through this profile as part of my online personal brand? And does my profile accurately reflect that, who I am and what I want to be known for? Optimizing your profile on LinkedIn and making sure that the components or different sections of it are included and representative of you is a great way to align that in terms of your online brand. So as we move forward in talking about how we're using your online brand, specifically LinkedIn to network, as the next step in terms of leveraging that, we'll focus on a few different ways we can utilize LinkedIn to network. And so one of the ways at the forefront is to research career pathways by looking at profiles, by looking at opportunities, companies, organizations. LinkedIn is a great supplemental tool in addition to tools such as BU Connects, Indeed, Handshake, and much more that also offer things like industry perspectives, what career pathways may exist, opportunities, and connection. So that's one way to kind of look at what may exist in terms of jobs, opportunities, and career pathways. The other important piece when thinking about utilizing LinkedIn to network is how you're active or an engaged member. So it's important to be active, engaged, and also you may find opportunities to create content. So in terms of following industry leaders, liking, reacting, commenting on posts, That's one way of being an engaged and active member on LinkedIn. You may, peruse just as you might on social media, but really amplifying that and taking it to the next step and contributing to LinkedIn to network in perhaps writing articles or sharing blogs is a great way to really leverage that. And how you contribute or add value to that will never be understated in that sense. It's also important to think about joining groups, searching organizations, and employers of interest to you. And this might be industry specific, it may be certain companies that you hope to work for, as well as certain employers or industry areas. We have a great tool here that I'll go into a short demo on how to utilize the BU LinkedIn Alumni tool to connect specifically with alumni. And all the other components of this may fall into this in terms of this is one stepping stone to be able to research career pathways by looking at particularly alum profiles. This gives you an opportunity of who to engage with or who you may see and promote certain content, as well as opportunities to gauge additional groups or organizations that may be of interest to you. Before we dive into the LinkedIn Alumni Tool demo, the last piece of this in terms of leveraging LinkedIn is how to set up informational interviews by connection and networking that happens on LinkedIn. So let's go ahead and dive into a short demo of using the LinkedIn Alumni Tool. Alrighty, so here is LinkedIn, and once you have a completed profile, you've likely added Boston University as part of your education section. Once that's linked into your education section, you're able to click into that and go ahead to Boston University's homepage. Here you'll see the homepage. You might see the words employer if you're a student worker or have some opportunities here at BU to work here. If not, it might say my school. And then you have more information and details about BU. You'll see an overview, contact information, size, location, and much more. Posts, jobs, alumni, events, and videos. For today's focus, we're going to focus on this alumni tab here. And you'll see that currently you have access to over 280,000 alumni who attended or are at BU and studied and did complete their education here at Boston University. Within that field, I just expanded the filters. You're able to peruse through where these people live, where they work, what they do, what they studied, what they're skilled at, and how you're connected. There's multiple layers and levels of connection. A friend of a friend, and a friend of a friend of a friend, right? So this is good information to utilize in instance to exercise sort of like what you want to do as a career pathway, or perhaps finding some context to set up informational interviews, or perhaps network with certain industry leaders. So let's say, as an example, I am a graphic design student at Boston University, and I'm hoping to see where graphic design students end up. I would go to what they studied, keeping in mind that this tab here, these are filtered by BU, not BU, I should say, majors. These are LinkedIn majors. So it may not be exactly what the major is here at BU, but choose or click the major most reflective or area of study most reflected or resonating with you. I'm going to go ahead and click graphic design. That populates this group as 2,689 alums. That's still a lot to read through, right? But it's also, what it does is pre-populates where they work. So this list is different than the list we saw before. And that's because these are the top companies that the majority of these people work at. This is the top cities or areas that these folks live in. And this is what they do within that area of study, and how you're connected, as well as what they're skilled at. So if I wanted to see if anybody works at Meta, for example, we'll go ahead and click that to filter. So any graphic design graduates of Boston University who now work or have worked at Meta, there narrows it down to 4. And those folks are available right here for you to connect. You're able to then go into their profiles and check out their career pathways, see if they went on to grad school, where they worked before they were working at Meta, and what their position titles and things like that were. Let's go back to the presentation now to discuss what your next steps are and maybe perhaps asking or requesting to connect with someone you may not know, but you have found through the alumni tool on LinkedIn. So essentially, requesting to connect with someone is a form of networking and asking to connect. It's always recommended that you add a note when you ask to connect and ask for an informational interview. What is an informational interview? Essentially, an informational interview is an informal conversation or discussion to learn about the experience of someone working in a role, organization, or field that interests you. Note how this is a part of networking. So informational interviewing is a form of networking. Informational interviews allow you to seek information, advice, feedback, and recommendations about certain areas, roles, organizations, or fields. It also allows you to figure out if an industry might be a good fit for you or not. What an informational interview is it is not an internship or job interview. Instead, you as the person seeking information is the one doing most of the interviewing. So you're kind of the one asking and preparing questions. And so we'll go into an example in a bit of what that looks like when you're reaching out in what you can say and what those next steps are. But first, it's really cognizant to remember to personalize your messages as you connect, especially with folks that you don't know or who might be second or third connections. So definitely introduce yourself, state how you found the person you are inviting to connect, indicate why you want to connect, and offer reciprocity. So what that might look like, for example, if you met someone, let's say at a webinar or a workshop, you might say something along the lines of, hello, it was nice to meet you at the webinar on marketing. I enjoyed speaking with you about inbound and outbound marketing. I'd like to connect with you to ensure we stay in touch in the future. That's pretty simple. Again, for the requests specifically on LinkedIn. You want to make sure that you're under 300 characters when you're adding a note to connect with someone that you don't personally know. If you want to go ahead and add that next step of asking for an informational interview, you'd like to perhaps set up a call with this person to learn more about their career pathway, to seek information, to conduct an informational interview. You might say something along the lines as the second sample. Hello, I came across your profile using the BU alumni tool on LinkedIn. I'm studying health sciences, and I noticed you're currently working at whatever organization they're working at as an example. My career goals include pursuing med school. Would you be opening to meeting for 15 to 20 minutes to share some of your experiences with me? We definitely recommend setting up appointments with career counselors here and assistant directors and the staff on the career education team to brainstorm what you might say, but these are some samples depending on what your goals and intentions are to connect with the person that you're requesting to connect with. In the second sample, you're asking for some time, which you provide the ask right away to then set up some time. And so if that was the case, your next steps beyond this after connecting is to, of course, first thank the person for connecting with you. If they agree to set up a time to connect, send some availability blocks and take care of that coordinating piece. Research their background and experiences by looking them up on their company page, their LinkedIn profiles, and then prepare some questions to ask. We have resources on our website as well as in meeting with an advisor on how to prepare questions for informational interviews. And the really important piece here is the follow-up and offering of reciprocity. So after you have gained information from someone, you want to definitely follow up with them, thank them for their time, offer anything you can pay it forward with, as well as anything in terms of keeping you in mind for any future leads or potential opportunities. And with that being said, that wraps up our part 2 series for LinkedIn in terms of networking and your online brand. If you have further questions, we definitely recommend you also take a look at our LinkedIn and social media positioning video that also touches the surface and overview on how to maximize all social media and why that's important in part of your online brand. Again, you're able to make appointments, email us, check out our blog or social media as well, or come visit our office at 100 Bay State Road, the Yawkey Center for Student Services. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.